Hey guys, so today I have swatches of two new collections from Cirque Colors. There is the Vice 2018 Neons collection and the Metropolis Creams collection for 2018. There are 6 polishes in each of these collections, so 12 altogether. These are all available right now, so I will link the Cirque Colors website down below and I'll get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Hedonist, and this is I can tell you right now, this is my favorite polish. We're starting with the Vice collection, which are neon bright summer colors. This is a neon sunshine yellow is the only way I can think of to describe it. It doesn't have that highlighter, slightly greenish quality to it that you're used to seeing in like true neon yellows, but it still is somehow very, very bright. So this is, for a yellow, very opaque on the first coat. And on that first coat, you can almost see a little bit of that highlighter colored yellow. It is a bit streaky. I believe I needed 3 for my swatch pictures, but it is going on really well today, so maybe I'll only need 2 for the video. Really good formula on this one as well. So this one does still have a few streaks on that second coat. I'm going to do a third just to even that out, but I don't think everyone's going to need a third. It's just going to depend on your application. And this does dry matte, so you will definitely want top coat. Also, I have a few little like frays on my nails right now. I've been doing a ton of swatches. I'm trying to get ahead and catch up at the same time. And so it's going to look like little bubbles or little flaws in the polish, particularly on these 2 nails. But it is just a bit of fraying from excessive swatching. And I have buffed my nails to the max at this point, so I don't want to do it again. So this one does cover completely for me in 3 coats. I don't know how well they're going to pick up on camera, but there were still a few streaks on that second coat for me. I'm not like the biggest yellow nail polish fan, but I just really, really like this polish. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it that's a sunshine yellow kind of shade, but still this bright. So that is 3 coats of Hedonist. So the next polish is called Boozy Brunch, and this is a neon coral shade. It's looking a little bit weird on camera right now. I'm hoping that we can get that adjusted. So this one actually covers really well on that first coat. It has a few streaks, but it is surprisingly opaque. And I love summer colors and I love neons, but I hate doing videos on them because these kind of pinky orange shades never show up right. This is very reminiscent of some of the earlier China Glaze neons in color, some of those pinky orange neons. Really good formula on this one as well, which those early China Glaze neons did not have. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It covered really well on that first coat, just a little bit streaky. And this also dries matte, so you will want top coat. So that is 2 coats of Boozy Brunch. The next polish is called Taboo, and this is a kind of neon purple shade. So this one also covers really well on that first coat, just a little tiny bit streaky, though I'm sure it will dry a little bit more streaky than it is now. And a really good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. Once it dried, I could see a bit of nail line that I couldn't see when the first coat was still wet. And this one also dries dull, so you will want top coat. So that is 2 coats of Taboo. The next polish is called Retail Therapy, and this is a bright neon pink. So this one also covers really well on the first coat. I'm really surprised at the lack of sheer formulas and the lack of streaks so far in these polishes. The yellow was really the only one that had any streaks in it, and that was because it was yellow. Any significant streaks, anyway, I should say. If you look closely, you could pick out streaks in all of them. The formula on this one is really good as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It does dry more sheer than it applies, and I also feel like it dries a little bit darker than it is when it's wet as well. And this one also dries matte, so you will want top coat to make it shiny. So that is 2 coats of Retail Therapy. The next polish is called Cyber, and this is a bright, it's like semi-neon green. So this one is a bit sheer on that first coat. I think other than the yellow, it's the most sheer so far. It's pretty even. I can just see a lot of nail line through it. Good formula on this one though. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats for me, but I can see where if you have a very, very white nail line, you might end up needing 3 because it is going to dry a little bit more sheer than it applies. It also dries a little bit darker than it is when it's wet, and it does dry matte. So that is 2 coats of Cyber. And the last polish in the Vice collection is Wanderlust, and this is a slightly darker teal shade. So this one covers really well on that first coat. I can see just a little bit of nail line through it, and good formula on this one as well. So like the other ones, this one does dry a little bit more sheer than it applies and a little bit darker than it applies, but it does cover completely in 2 coats. And you can see it dries a bit dull, so you will want top coat. And I'm also noticing that it is coming off significantly more blue on camera than it is in person. It definitely has more green to it. So that is 2 coats of Wanderlust. So now we are starting in with the Metropolis creams. This first one is called Uptown Girl, and this is a light baby pink. For being such a light color, this is a little bit streaky, but it covers really surprisingly well considering how light the shade is. And some of those streaks do seem to level themselves out almost instantly. There are still a few left, and good formula on this polish as well. So this one does cover completely on that second coat. I can see if, depending on your application, if you do thinner coats, you might end up needing 3 just to cover up some dark spots. And this does dry shiny-ish, but obviously I'm still going to recommend top coat. So that is 2 coats of Uptown Girl. The next polish is called Highline, and it's a baby blue. Like, I look at it and it's a baby blue, but I do feel like it has just a splash of purple in there. So this one is also surprisingly opaque on that first coat for being such a light color. Very, very minimal streaks, though I do think those are going to be a little bit more obvious after it's dry. And a good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It's another one that I think could be a 2 or 3 coater just depending on your application. That first coat dried much more uneven and a little bit more sheer than it was when it was wet. And this also dries not super shiny, but a little bit shiny, wear top coat anyway. So that is 2 coats of Highline. The next polish is called Bam, and this is a slightly corally pink. So this one is a bit sheer on that first coat. I can see my nail line through it, and there are a few streaks. This is going to need, I'm assuming, 2 to build up. We'll see. And good formula on this one as well. This one is a little bit more jelly-ish than the last 2 have been. So this one does cover completely for me in 2 coats. I can definitely see where you might need 3, just depending on your application. And it also seems to dry significantly darker than it applies, but it is a little bit more jelly-ish, so it does dry pretty shiny. So that is 2 coats of Bam. The next polish is called Blushing Queens, and this is a darker pink. So this one covers really well on that first coat. I feel like it has a little tiny bit of a jelly-ish quality to it, but not as much as the last one. I can see a bit of nail line. And good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It was pretty close in one, just had a bit of nail line to cover up. And this one also dries fairly shiny. So that is 2 coats of Blushing Queens. The next polish is called Strawberry Fields, and this is a kind of like medium, maybe crossing the line into kind of darkish red. So this one covers really well on that first coat, very even. I can still see a bit of nail line though. This one also is just slightly jelly-ish, which should mean it will dry fairly shiny like the last 2 did. And good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, and it also dries very shiny. I do think if you have a very, very white nail line, you might end up needing 3 coats for this one. I don't have a very white nail line at all, but I think if I did, you would be able to see it through this second coat. So that is 2 coats of Strawberry Fields. So the next polish is called Lafayette, and this is a darker green. So this is a very nicely opaque green. I can still see through it a smidgen. It's very even. I can just see my nail line a little bit. This is another one that feels like it just has a little tiny bit of jellyishness to it. And good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. And that second coat does deepen the color a bit as well. The first coat dried a little bit more sheer than it applied. But overall, the polish dries pretty shiny. So that is 2 coats of Lafayette. So Hedonist is going to be my favorite, which was actually a really big surprise for me. This is somehow a neon sunshine yellow. Like, I'm not really sure how that fits into the colors that I know in my head. It's a neon yellow, but it's not that highlighter, like a little bit green yellow. It's a very like true sunshine yellow color, and in the bottle it doesn't look like too much. When it's on your nails, it's still like glowing. It still has a kind of neon property to it, which again, it just totally clashes with everything I know about this shade, but I really, really like this. So those are the 2 new collections from Cirque Colors. Again, I will link that website down below so you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.